was a nice guitar. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the WGLNA Season 2 Gold League. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left, David Williams. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube, /WGLNA. If you're not watching this on BattleViewer.com, go over there right now and check it out. And finally, follow us on Twitter, @WGLNA, so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you. One of the things that we are doing next Thursday is bringing in Quinn to answer questions that you have asked us. He will be reading to us, and then we'll answer them here on
that was
the
worse.
stream. Was it bad? Was that way worse?
That was pretty worse.
So ask us questions at #mailbag, tweet at WGLNA, and then you guys just be, I guess you'll be in for a surprise next Thursday. And also, you can answer for us the question of the day.
Which is, in a hull down, and if the tank was a tier 10, which one would be your favorite? If we're going to just mix things up completely
That made tons of sense. For me, E100, it would not be.
Mine would be the 5ET110.
All right, so let us know right now, guys, in chat what your answer is. We are getting ready for our fourth and final match of the night. It is Noble versus 07. On the side of Noble, we have Comps. On the side of 07, we've got Meadowhawk. Gentlemen, welcome to the face-off. Comps, going to go ahead and start off with you, sir. Now, we haven't seen you guys since the roster changes, so I looked. You guys picked up Friction and removed Trireme. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, we don't remove Tri. He's still on the team. He's just not on the roster.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And as far as Friction, I mean, he was supposed to join last season, had some work stuff going on. And then early on this season, well, during the first roster change, he couldn't make it. But then we went to China together, and now he's officially on the roster. So
All part of the plan. All part of the plan.
The phrasing. We went to China together. Just leaves so many different comments open. But instead, I'm going to go with this, Comps. What's your favorite tier 10 tank in hull down?
hull down, probably be the E5. I mean, that thing is pretty solid.
My man.
There we go. There we go. That's a point for you on Nagatron's nice list, Comps. Well done for that.
Puts you at like -6.
It's
all good.
Meadowhawk, gonna go over to you now, sir. Last Tuesday's match against High Voltage, you guys did fantastic on Cliff, 4-0ing them. Then going on to Mines, kind of the opposite happened. What happened in your kind of summary on Mines?
Mines, we haven't, we've played it occasionally. I think High Voltage really has that map nailed down, and we weren't quite prepared to break their defense. And we flubbed a couple of our own defenses, so it didn't help. But maybe a little overconfidence because we only thought we needed one. We weren't, playing like we should have.
All right, but you guys, a fantastic pickup there. Showing absolute dominance on Cliff. Awesome plays. Really enjoyed seeing what you guys did there.
It happens. It honestly happens. Meadowhawk, what's your favorite tier 10 tank? Sorry. My battle buddy for life. What is your tier 10 tank?
We can't be
in a hull down. What's your favorite?
Are we not going with the mouse anymore?
No, you can do the mouse. Just Tofu can.
No. Tofu Snort's not here, so I think Synergy would kill me if I didn't say the E3 because that thing, it's ridiculous. If you can get the lower plate hit.
Yeah, E3, E5. Sounds like
is.
some good tanks to be hauled down in. Meadowhawk, thank you so much. Gentlemen, before we get into the battle, Comps, just would like to say to Meadow before we get started.
Good luck and have fun.
All right, Meadow, your response?
Noble's resistance is futile. My guys are ready to get their raid on and, battle it out until all their tanks are gone, which I think will force Comps to take a knee on our terms.
All right, gentlemen, best of luck to both of you, and we'll see you shortly. Comps is clapping for that. That is exactly the right response. Oh, Meadowhawk.
So Noble saying that they picked up Friction. As you can see him there in the 8th slot, formerly from Fulcrum Fnatic, my team. Interested to see him play, if he's going to play. They did this before, and they didn't play him. And it broke my little heart. 07 picked up nobody, as they said.
Yep.
With Meadowhawk on the bench.
Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go from there? Yeah. Oh.
Here is the screen from FantasyWGL.com that shows this match pairing. Noble is currently sitting in 3rd, 07 currently sitting in 7th. But both still in contention for playoff. Actually, Noble very likely will get a bye into the finals, so they won't have to play the
First
playoffs.
or second, sure.
Wk7 still struggling for it. There is a chance, especially if they win right now. Cliff being the favorite for Noble, maybe. They played a lot. I don't know if it's their favorite. And Wk7 with 17 battles on Himmelsdorf. T22 and Batchat, respectively. Dodoma and Vetro being their top point earners for now. Wk7 doesn't really change.
Vetro.
Noble changes all the time.
Right. So, talking about the maps that we ping, we've talked about pro and steps. Just why do you let them play it, ban it out? Like Meadowhawk just mentioned, high voltage on mines. They just have that locked down. So maybe try to ban that out from them. Against Noble, what is a map that you would ban out? Maps. Which ones would you just not want to play them on?
Oh man, I'd probably start with steps.
Okay.
Just because I wouldn't want to play anyone on it per se anyways.
Right.
But Noble is
Talked about
actually
that.
fairly decent at steps. So, I mean, at best, you're looking at an awkward fight. I'd probably take him to... It depends. It depends on how my team was performing, honestly. But some of the better maps would be
Ghost
like... Mines to a certain extent, as they still have some issues to work out there. Himmelsdorf for sure.
Ghost Town?
I'd always take some of the best teams at Himmelsdorf because, as I've said 100 times before, you learn it to a point that you learn too much, and it gets really hard to play. Other
Noble
than
might have
that,
been that point.
perhaps Cliff, because they haven't been looking great on it so far.
And Wk7 did a fantastic job by high voltage, but right now we're not starting out on any of those. We're starting out on pro, ladies and gentlemen. Noble versus Wk7. Noble started on defense, Wk7 on offense. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Pro Rovka for sure, but I'd probably try and take everybody right now to that map. Noble with an IS-7 and E5, 142 T22s, a TVP and an RU-251, Wk7 with two IS-7s, a Leopard 1, two 140s, a T22, and an RU-251.
All right, we'll see if either of these teams is going to pull out the aggressive pro play that we've been actually starting to see so far after Tuesday. So this week has kind of been the start of that. See if teams are comfortable with that or not. Fosta and Marsh, both the scouts, both in the RE251s going for a little bit of scouting. They now just scout each other, but Fosta also finds German Milton. As far as Wk7, Camador now taking a shot there in the IS-7.
Very respectable scout run coming out of Marsh there. Pretty classic angle, but it's the details of how that was done. Pretty important. He was already starting to initiate a turn before he hit the middle, just in case there was somebody there.
Huh.
As soon as he wasn't spotted and didn't see anybody else, he straightened out a little bit else, a little bit
going.
more, to get a little bit of a deep spot closer to where those IS-7s were. Saw him, turned around, got out. All the information he needed to know there. Everything else is too much of a risk. Once you see the IS-7s on the east side, fair bet the mediums are either all the way on the 0 line or backing them up in 6-7. So might as well start the boogie, move on back north, and let Noble start soaking up more of the western part of the map, which they are already doing.
So, kind of while we're on this topic of scouting, the RE251, a great play there coming up from Marsh. The RE251 has to be the tank that I've drifted in the most. It's just, you start getting so fast, you go take a corner and you start sliding. Do you, as a scout, I mean, do you incorporate that? Do you use drift? I mean, like how, or do you not go that fast to ever drift?
You can sometimes, but the vast majority of the time you do not want to drift. When you break free of your treads, you are actually losing momentum that would otherwise be useful to keep
scout.
controlling your
Right.
maneuverability. Once you start to drift, you also become a very predictable target. You're going to keep drifting the direction that you're going.
Sure.
It's not necessarily like a car where you can just drop the e-brake and steer back into it, and all of a sudden
What?
you're squirrely.
What? You can't?
Nope.
No e-brakes on a tank?
It's a tank. Doesn't work that way.
All right.
It's also a game, so it doesn't work that way.
Wait. No, we'll talk about this later.
This isn't real.
This is a game?
Like, how many lives do you think these guys have? We see them die at least 5 times a night.
No, we see their tank explode and we hear a guy go, "Everybody get out." So they obviously live. There's just a lot of tank money going down the drain. Fossa getting spotted out in the RE251, gets tracked, takes 318 in the side, a quick repair. He's going to try to find some cover here as Wk7 looks like they're biasing themselves over here on the side of the east.
Wk7 going to deal with some frustrating stagnation as Noble has no reason to go anywhere. And is going to make Wk7 make all the bold moves while they chip away a little HP at him until they get into a nice little soft spot where they'll go finish him off for good.
Sounds like a pretty good position to be in. There it is. More chips going down. Fosta taking another shot. He's now proxy spotting X-Soldier right there, or has been. Camador taking some. Makos and Synergy 3K. Looks like they were going very aggressive here over to the north. They're going to try to find Militant or Akula. Not sure, though. It just seems like a tricky thing because if you're 07, why wouldn't you be putting cap pressure on right now and then letting Noble come to you? Just too easy to reset?
Yes, you
Okay.
take a lot of damage with whoever went there. Against Noble, Canadian Impact would probably pick him off.
Okay.
I mean, it's Impact. Oh, a fire happening on Warbander.
Ooh,
Probably the
oh,
second one in a
oh.
row where he didn't bring a fire extinguisher, but it's not going to be enough to take him down. That was Marsh lighting up a shot into him from behind.
Ooh.
And Warbander now in a very delicate position. At this point, as long as Marsh knows that nobody else is going to fire him, it's totally worth taking the one shot from Warbander. He is probably going to wait till he delights and then pop off another one. A little bit off target there. Don't know exactly where Warbander was last time you saw him. But Foster taken out by Canadian Impact
gosh.
as these two are working high-low on this part of the tracks. This is why I always liked being in the western side of the map in the event. Anybody went east, it was very easy to pick them off in the south, and the north wasn't too much harder.
Is there an elevation thing between the east and the west?
It's angles, spotting cycles, all sorts of stuff. Basically, the hill in the eastern side of the map is what makes the eastern side of the map so terrible to play on a lot of the time, unless you go hard east, and then you have some plans to where to move from there. But that's a very technical discussion. Basically, you don't go east unless you are a master of this map,
Wow.
in my opinion, or you're just trying to get away from west.
Oh.
You know that's where your opponent's going to go.
CXFT going hard over the tracks now. They're starting to break that east-west
Oh,
barrier,
he's dead.
trying to find something. Getting tracked. 596 going into him. Canadian Impact actually not even bothering. He's turning his shots. Doing a nice bit of damage there into Marsh, but it is not going to be enough. Let's see where else that Leopard 1 goes. Again, Leopard 1, a fun damage dealing tank. You just rack up points on that tank, but paper armor.
Absolutely. Even Marsh firing heat would be able to take him out there. Canadian Impact also picking up Commodore
Man,
IS-7.
He's probably going to find Warbander too.
Somebody's got to handle this guy. He's getting way too much damage, and 486 coming out on him. He's still just at half. Dodema and Marsh taking it very delicately
Ooh.
with Makos and CXFT. Big
Oh,
at any point.
Canadian!
Germ and Canadian Impact taking out Synergy and Warbander.
My gosh, Noble just taking it to 07 right now, leaving just 3 members alive, ZXFT, Makos, and Vetro. And now it's just Makos and Vetro as Dodo finds ZXFT in that Leopard 1. 2 minutes and 21 seconds on the clock. Nothing 07 can do. This first match is definitely going to be going over to Noble here on defense. Vetro finally taking out Canadian Impact, which is a little too late. Germ now just kind of finding another kill. Vetro, oh Vetro, whatever will you do?
Hopefully farm me some more fantasy points for going down.
Oh, good call. Vetro, stay alive. Dodo coming to get a piece of this action with one more shot in the 50-51. He's not even going to clip. He just wants some points where he can find them. 328 going into him.
Twist. A little twist was enough to bounce one of those shots.
Oh, there it is from the
Not
side.
those, though.
two shots from the side. Can't twist enough. Noble going to pick up now their first victory here. So not aggressive like we've been kind of seeing tonight, or on Tuesday, but still a very solid play from Noble. Obviously, I really like that idea of just if you have the West and the other team goes to the East, like you're great, you're in good positions. So would you just then say most tanks or most teams that don't go to the East unless you're super prepared and have a very well airtight strategy?
Certainly not from the south.
Okay.
From the north, you can kind of get away with it. But it's a danger zone. If you run smack dab into an eastern fight with both teams, it's going to come down to whoever knows that side of the map better, which is not necessarily true in the West. In the West, the North has a lot of advantages,
Okay.
but the South can get away with some things, and you can actually sucker the North into doing crazy stuff. Like what I was drawing on the map earlier. If you bring that out and you're planning for it, you can turn that around real fast. Or if the northern team dives on you, which they don't need to because they're on defense, then it could go any way pretty quickly if you bounce your shots.
Okay.
Again, we do not necessarily have enough time
Okay.
to go through the statistics here.
We'll do a double one.
We're going to do a double
Oh,
after the next game.
double in 2 nights in a row, guys. I mean, what is this real life? Is this real life right now? Oh, I know you guys are excited, as I'm excited. But we are getting ready to go into the next match. We'll be switching sides for both these teams. We'll see if Noble kind of has anything aggressive. Since they were on defense, they will now be on offense. See if they have more kind of aggressive play to this map, or if they'll kind of do everything kind of standard. I kind of want to see an artillery. I'm just maybe we'll see an artillery.
Not on this map.
That's why I want to see it, because I want to see how teams would use it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to start. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks. Yeah.
We'll see, I guess.
Yeah.
An E5, a Bat Chat, a 140, two T22s, a TVP, and an M40, M43. Oh, Noble. Of course it has to be that one, too, right? Like,
Of course.
be one I have less personal issues with. 07, I7,
At least
two
after Halo's not
140s,
driving it.
two T22s, an E3, and an RU251. This would be the equivalent of them driving like a Spider for you. Does that make... Yeah, you get it.
I was like, there's a spider dick?
No, like an actual spider. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Guys, a question that you now no longer have to ask. Toma, what's your fear? Oh my gosh, I hate spiders.
You ever seen one of those videos where somebody kind of just jumps out of a moving car? And there's a spider in it?
Yeah,
That's Toma.
that actually happened to me. They were infesting my vents. Anyway, we can talk about this later because right now, Fossa is going for a scouting. Just going to pop up here in the bush.
So
down on
a
E1.
number of things already working against Noble. They better have this really worked out. They brought the M40-43, which means they're going into the Southwest. If they weren't, I would question so much about what I
Life?
know about this game. I mean, you can kind of get away with it in the East, but it's just so dangerous. Now, that leaves 07 with a lot of information. They know they've already spotted a couple tanks over here. They have a pretty good idea of what's going on here. They're just going to back off to a point where one tank will do the spotting. At least that's what they could do. Looks like they're going to rotate completely away from it, which is a little bit confusing to me. They have their E3 stranded there at A8, so they do need to link up with him quite a bit. That's going to leave Commodore somewhere stranded. A lot of things going on here that are giving Noble much more room to operate here. If Fosta had gotten into a place where he could spot Canadian Impact, in fact, there's a number of bushes that Noble is actually blind firing right now, this ridge right here, to guarantee that they're not going to get spotted from that, so that's not exactly accurate. But you can get up into this area with an RU-251 and actually not get blind fired quite a bit, because you can see it's not exactly accurate blind fire to this area. And you could spot Canadian Impact consistently as he's doing that, and that'll just keep them all down. You can waste tons of time. Granted, the M40, M43 can drop a bomb into those bushes if somebody's being spotted quite often there, and probably delete a tank. But there's a whole lot of cause and effect we could discuss about all of this. What it comes down to is that M40, M43 could cost a lot of time, some mobility, a lot of mobility, honestly. And this is why I hate on artillery in WGLNA fairly often. The mobility and the limitation of strategic options.
Sure.
It just never has really sat well with me. You can have the best artillery in the game, and sometimes it still won't be worth it.
I'm assuming bringing 2 artilleries just doubles your hate?
Yes.
Okay.
Ah,
There's no,
No,
like,
that's-
halfway point?
no, that increases things at a geometric rate. So
So stay away from that.
don't
bring two
I would hate it probably close to 4 times as much
Oh, wow.
than 1.
Okay. So,
Not that my approval means anything if you actually think it's going to work. If you think it's going to work, you do it.
yeah, if you
And
practice
prove me
it.
wrong.
if you-
There are a few things I actually enjoy more than being proven wrong about
Yeah,
World of
we
Tanks.
talked about
it
this.
keeps it interesting for me.
Sure.
It's like, oh, I didn't know that would work, and it does. Awesome. I'm learning things. But when things go exactly according to the way I expect them to, sometimes it's actually kind of frustrating. In these situations, if this artillery does not work out, it'll be somewhat frustrating for me. because, people are still working on this stuff, but never really liked it on Prohorovka. I roll my tongue way too much when I say it.
That sounds good.
It would sound good if it was Spanish,
Yeah.
but it's Russian, and you don't actually roll your tongue that much.
Oh. All right. Well, we'll just work on that. Or, again, bring up Google Translate and have Siri say it or something.
Oh, that'd be creepy. Boss is going to get a shot in, and instead takes a shot back.
All right.
Boss is going to step back up while still lit. That is flirting with danger. Gets another shot back. Now he's down at half, limiting his overall scouting potential. That could be more than a little problematic. 07 can mostly hug this train line and not get shot by that artillery at all. The M40, M43 is relatively flat. Vetro, however, is at risk. He is somewhat safer because of this. That can catch a shot and thus only create a splash, which his tank could kind of deal with. But right now, it's on Noble to find any sort of reason to cause impetus for 07 to make a move at all. And the only real risk for 07 is Commodore being somewhat caught out. But he's in a relatively safe place to be caught out in.
Okay. 07 can quickly come to help him, or he can get out in time.
Yes, if you're going to overweight it with enough tanks to really make it worth it, Wk7 can come to his rescue fairly easily, especially if they had to tank an A6, which they don't, which is a strategic oversight in my opinion. But, as we've already discussed,
Prove me wrong.
prove me wrong. Ex-Soldier down here dealing with Fosta. A little bit, looks like he got one more shot in. So Fosta now at 310. In the one-shot territory for a lot of tanks, but still possible to survive. And here we go. Militant stepping on cap of the bat shot, taking 356 just for the move. Kula roughly nearby behind him. Dodema all the way up in A2 with his TVP. Gonna get ready to rip out some shots. Vetro doing some nice little poking there, minimizing his overall shot potential and still getting the spots. You can see exactly why that is here in a second. That M40, M43 landed real close to Vetro. You can see how close it was, but it didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Didn't do anything. That splash being mostly absorbed by the grade. As they tend to go kind of flattish. See what I'm talking about? You see this right here? Just
Train.
catching all the shots while Vetro lights everything
The
in
best
area.
battle buddy.
That's why Vetro is...
What number is that? Train number 2. Best battle buddy.
Train number 2.
There's a little number on the back end of it, right? Right. Oh, wow, no. That's not 2.
We're not even going to read that out. Vetro getting another shot in. They're just letting him have all day there. Probably waiting for Marsh to land one of these M40, M43 shots. And if we take a quick glance at the clock, there's a minute and 50 seconds left. That mattered. 930 landing on Commodor's turret. It is quite a bit, but not
So
enough
much
to really
time has
stop
gone by.
him from getting in here. He is not going to be able to see Militant for that shot. We'll eventually figure it out. But somebody can come in here. There we go. Fosta slipping in. This is an area where his hit points that he lost earlier could come back to haunt him quite a bit, but he is going to get a nice ridge light on Militant, and there it is. Militant being spotted. One reset will put this game into a very tricky situation as Commodore misses
Militant
a critical
dodging
shot,
it!
and now Fosta's going to have to come in and pick up the slack there. He also misses a shot. 13 seconds left on cap.
can't keep
as
doing this.
Militant
He can't
trying
keep
to
doing
bring it
this.
home. Marsh finishing off Commodore's I-7.
8 seconds on the clock. ZXFT now being sent in the T22. Militant fights Fosta. It's up to ZXFT now. Oh, the shot goes through. And now 60 seconds is all Noble has to take down 07 or cap. 07 has committed a little bit for that, but I just do not think the time is enough for Noble. Vetro taking down Canadian Impact. Militant giving up right now on the cap and just going straight for Vetro, as the rest of Noble just have to go head-to-head here against 07. One shot going in for 403. Here comes the second. No! Synergy 3K shuts him down before it happens, and with 30 seconds on the clock, 5 members alive. I'm not sure that they can finish off 07 in this time. Germ, the T22, though, going over. He still feels like there's a chance. One shot there, just missing Warbander. Germ taking 667 in response, and Makos is just going to start running. All he has to do is stay alive for more than 13 seconds, and the game is over. Looks like 07 is going to tie it up against Noble 1-1 here on to Pro. 324 into ZXFT. Now it's just fantasy points, ladies and gentlemen. ZXFT finds a kill at the end just to make it sweet. Tying it up 1-1. Congratulations, 07. Artillery?
I haven't seen how much damage it's
Salt.
done yet. I'm just going to say I don't care how
What?
much damage it's done. Wasn't worth it. But now let's go to stats.
Let's go stats. Just a C.
It killed an IS-7, but for what cost? Here we go. 8 shots, which is a lot for an M40 at 43. 3 hits, 3 penetrations, and a splash. Penetration is what you need to know here. It's actually penetrating tanks and still not doing a lot of damage. The FE207 that was brought was a much more viable option. Granted, it's super slow from what I was able to see. I mean, they're pushing
get
it.
boosted.
It's gotta be pretty
Yeah.
slow.
I mean,
all sorts of other stuff. Can't really compare Artie, but you can see how much time Noble wasted for a number of reasons for that. Let's get through with the stats first before I continue my salt mine. 2.2 out of Dodema, 1.6 out of Nemesis, 1.2 out of Impact, 1.1 out of Ex-Soldier. Everybody else not breaking 1. Warbander with 2.6 overall. Vetro with 1.9. Very, very, very critical shots. ZXFT coming in with a 98-point reset and 1.8.
Wow.
Whoever has him on his fantasy team would just be raking in the points. Makos with 1.6. Synergy 3K with 1.3. Fosta, 1,000. I was criticizing him for being overplaying a little bit here and there, but he ended up being super critical. And Imagine if he had been in artillery. That would have been a lost game.
Yeah, that would have been
That would have been a lost game.
It. So, artillery assault mine.
What did it do there? Killed Commodor's IS-7 after Commodore. I mean, I can just take a quick look at his damage blocked. 1,000 blocked from conventional tanks. And yeah, it's what put him down, which made the cap kind of possible. But again, we're getting into a steps kind of situation.
Yeah.
We're focusing on cap and how to prevent people from resetting us on cap and all that, instead of using cap as a pressure to pull people to you and then jump on them when it matters. And it's just rolling the dice with the game. And a team like Noble is too good to play those games. And that is why it is the salt mine for me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is all tied up here. Noble now back on defense. Let's go right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Noble with an IS-7 and E5 at 142, T-22s, a TPP and RU-251, 07 with two IS-7s, two 140s, two T-22s, and RU-251.
So bringing the artillery, I would have. It's like, the advantage of a elevation is huge, right? Why not bring it over to the Eastern Hill?
One, it takes a very long time to get there.
Okay.
Two, it's incredibly difficult to secure.
No.
Three, the angles still aren't as good as you would like.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Those are three good reasons.
The best position for an artillery on this map has typically been like A6 or like K6, K6-7 for shot angles, because you can land them on either side because it's relatively vertical.
Ah, okay.
But they're very easy to find. And once you see one shot land behind that track in
there
the
he
wrong
is.
place, you're like, dude, he's up north. And then you very easily focus him out. Very easily. You can blind fire him out sometimes. Or you send a scout to go proxy light across the tracks, and you find him, and then he dies.
Yeah.
There used to be a time when artillery was used on both sides of this map. In 742, when you did not have as many hit points and as much everything, and they were much better back then. But that was also, the artillery was better back then. We were talking about the GW Panther before. That thing was incredibly accurate.
Monster.
Good rate of fire, very wide traverse before it had to refocus, and people would play GWPs on both sides of the map and just snipe people with it. That is when artillery was super valuable. But a
Tier
lot of
10?
changes,
Not so much.
a lot of changes that made the aim time on artillery take a lot longer, which is what really destroyed its viability in WGLNA.
All right. Well, there you guys go. If you ever wondered why we don't see a lot of artillery, that is your answer.
Just takes too long to put out relevant damage.
Cap pressure starting to be applied here. 407. Let's see if it lasts. Now kind of the opposite. We now have Noble on the eastern side. Actually, they're kind of on both. I mean, Noble now, Canadian Impact, right in the middle of 07. Warbandor and Commodore might just be coming around, and they might be able to take him out. Commodore getting some, Warbandor getting some good shots there onto Canadian Impact. Canadian turning his turret, trying to take the IS-7. One shot going into Mech Soldier, finds Commodore. That is one IS-7 gone. 459 going to the side of Warbandor. Looks like a second tank is about to fall for 07. Let's see if they can take down Canadian Impact before that happens. Nice shots coming out there from German Militant. Not sure where they connected there, but obviously they had a clear goal in mind. 829 going to Canadian. One more shot from Synergy 3K, and that connected, but he's actually going right back to Militant in the 140. Canadian Impact still alive, bouncing a shot there from Vetro in the 140. X-Soldier finds a kill onto Warbandor. Vetro finally takes down Canadian Impact. 30 seconds on the clock here. Let's see if Noble can find those resets. Synergy 3K lit up. Fosta and ZXFP now being lit up and spotted. 673 going into that RU-251. And that is going to be a very viable reset indeed. Marsh taking down Fosta. X-Soldier popping up in the E5, just finding those shots. And it looks like Noble is clearly going to take this victory here onto defense again, increasing their lead 2-1 as it's just Mako, CXT, and Synergy 3K here all around the base. The only member that isn't is Vetro, and he is going down right now to Marsh in the RU-251. A GG for Noble.
Indeed. Strategy that, all I can say is pretty much the obvious. Did not work.
Yep, yeah, there you go. X-Soldier, Synergy 3K, Akula taking down Makos, and now just ZXOT lives. Who will pick it up? Who will increase their fantasy points? Well, a lot of members right now, as a lot of focus is going through. March, though, is going to be the one. Akula trying to get a ram, but just not in time. And that's going to be Noble's second victory here against 07 in our fourth and final match of the night. So, yeah, I mean, basically the obvious didn't work. Canadian Impact's position, I believe it was, I mean, right in the middle of most of 07.
Yep.
I didn't even see how he got there. How did he get there without taking tons of damage? Is it pretty easy to kind of maneuver?
Let's actually go back. Let's cover stats really quickly. We did forget to do stats for game 2.
Oh, the double. Guys.
The double-double. So 3.3 out of X-Soldier. So this is the game you just saw. This is game 4. 3.3 out of X-Soldier, 3 kills. 3,000 for Akula, 1.9 for Germ, 1.7 for Marsh, 1.2. Just basically a slaughter. 2.6 out of Synergy 3K, and that's pretty much it. So from there, this is game 2. This is Akula with 3.3, Canadian Impact with 2.7, 1.8 out of Marsh. Brilliant scouting to get that much. 1.8 out of Militant, 1.7 out of Germ. Then over here for 07, 2.9, almost 3,000 out of Vetro, 2,000 out of Makos.
All right, so there you guys go. Got that double out of the way. So so the Canadian Impact's position, how we got there. Is it easy to traverse those hills and get into that position without taking damage? Because I feel like he should have been spotted the entire way there.
Ish.
Okay.
Again, it's one of those things that depends. There's always routes, especially on this map, where you can kind of sneak up on people. This is why I remember we were talking about scouting. A lot of people were answering that this was their favorite map to scout.
Yeah,
but a
surfing the
number of
ridge.
them were saying back in the day,
Yeah.
you used to be able to, if you were really good at a T50-2 on this map, you used to be able to drive it almost anywhere on the map, and you would only appear like 50 meters in front of people. You
That's
do a little bit of scouting,
terrifying.
a little bit of deduction, and you knew exactly what to do. Because back then, it's irrelevant how the mechanics worked, but back then, moving scouts, moving lights were very difficult to spot if there were bushes in between you and them. They didn't have a camo bonus that they lost.
All right, well, Canadian Impact trying to bring it back from the days of old here. Noble up 2-1 against 07. Let's see if Noble brought the artillery again or if they changed it up. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks. Yeah.
Noble with an E5, a bad shot, a 142, T22's a TVP, and the M40, M43 again. Let's see if they make it work better. 07 with an IS-7, two 140s, two T22s, an E3, and an RE51. Already looking a bit better. Akula going up the 6 line. Militant and Impact not getting bottled in the southwest. And Marsh getting pushed here by X-Soldier. Already like it more. Still not a fan of the artillery, but at least we don't have 7 players essentially bottled into the southwest and 4 grid tiles to start off a game.
Always a good change.
Yeah, because that could have lost the game alone. Take that many people in one place.
Yeah.
07 could have owned 75% of the map and just camped, and you would have lost. But as it is, Akula and Noble taking up the entire southwestern side of the map. Commodore still a little bit exposed, but he is using a bush that will protect him from being spotted, which does make this quite a bit better. This way, he doesn't have to take damage to go in there and get those spots on the cap area and get those resets. So he's already there for the 1 cap resets, is the whole idea behind this.
Okay.
Now he's just being invisible until then, so he doesn't get picked off, take artillery damage and whatnot in the meantime. 07's just putting so many people on the hill to clear that out and guarantee they own the entire eastern side of the map. Just an interesting move in general.
Okay.
And now they're going to flood back to the train line and divide this map roughly 55-45, I would say.
So if you're 07 right now and you see that Nobles again brought their artillery, and you knew where it was last time and you kind of knew what it did, where did the mind game meta get into? Like, okay, so wait, are they going to predict that we're going to go to those same places, and is Noble then going to know that we're going to know that, and then we're going to, or do you just not think about it? You go, guys, let's just wait until we see information and then go from there.
You certainly expect Noble to learn a little bit, but you also learn quite a bit about them.
Sure.
Here's one of the things that brings the salt. Now you got to spend this tier 10 all the way over here watching the rear. Because if Fosta, say you have Canadian Impact's position right there. See where it is?
Yep.
Right over here.
Yep.
If Fosta were to come down 100% red line, it
Would not be
cannot
spotted?
be spotted by the E5.
Ooh.
So you have to leave somebody relatively far down here to protect the rear guard. So you just have a tier 10 out, but it doesn't matter as Makos gets lit up for nearly 1,400 damage, perhaps one of those coming out of Marsh, which would be earning his place in this overall set and seriously justifying the usage of artillery to me quite a bit.
Yeah, I'll say. Take out that T-22.
If you start killing tanks with it,
Yeah, that's a tier 10.
and
That's
I
tier 10.
say killing tanks with
Not
it
just like finishing
in
them
a
off.
reasonable amount of time. Not just doing a lot of damage and making them keep their heads down. I'm talking killing them and actually getting strategic advantage out of it to justify the cost. That is when it starts to matter. And I emphasize this quite a bit because it is a rather common strategic mistake in Clan Wars, in WGLNA, all sorts of things. And basically it comes down to, a lot of the time, is your artillery really, really good? Another shot coming out of Marsh, and it splashes Commodore for 461. Actually, that might have been a direct hit there. Militant was able to proxy spot him, making that bush area not worth it.
Good job,
or rather,
Militant. Good job.
ineffective at that point in time. Commodore is now flirting with danger a little bit. If he continues backing up, okay, there we go. If he continued showing the rear side of his tank to an M40, M43, he could be looking at a very, very, very brutal shot from Marsh.
Yeah. Use that backboard.
07. Just biding their time here.
Yeah, one of the things about this strategy, it seems, is just the time that you just don't have pressure. And the defense can now just sit back and wait. I feel like if you... Another shot going up from Marsh.
226.
It just seems like that's just not enough quick enough. It just seems like the time is just going through. I mean, if...
And that's the thing. It either is or it isn't. Like I just said, if you have an incredible artillery that's going to hit all his shots, well, then sure. Jamming artillery and all sorts of stuff because he's going to hit it. He's going to be worth it.
Sure.
The problem here is, in the event, so the reason they have to hold back like this, first off, they want to hold back to give their artillery more time to fire.
Right.
But if they were to try and play this aggressively up in 07's face and just have an artillery to add on damage, it wouldn't work out because then you're actually effectively going into
A 6v7.
6v7.
Right.
And there's a certain amount of danger close where the artillery can't drop bombs into your relative area without hitting you.
Right.
So it gets messy very quickly, and this map is an exceedingly difficult one to artillery against professional players where they know exactly where to go. Cooking off about 5 minutes of clock time so far. Doesn't mean Noble is out yet, but they haven't done, well, they've done a good amount of damage. 5 minutes worth of damage? Hard to say, as there are still 7 tanks alive for 07.
Yeah, if it comes down to it, I mean, just one of those tanks has to live when that clock gets to 0, and the defense will win. 40 seconds on the clock, so obviously Militant going to start applying that pressure to make 07 start doing something and respond to them. We'll see if that's going to be enough. Canadian Impact getting spotted out here.
Fosta slipping in. Great move here. He didn't even take any damage while he did it. May have been cued off by the fact that Canadian Impact started destroying those buildings, which is kind of the initial cover that Fosta needs to get in there safely. Fosta dodging a lot of shots right there.
Wow.
Or rather, Noble missing a lot of shots on Fosta.
Which way do you look at it?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. Fosta, ooh, nice little reset coming up here on Militant. He gets that shot in.
There it is.
Worth enough. But Commodore goes down to Marsh's M40, M43.
Man, but we're in that minute and 50-second mark again, where Noble now has less than 2 minutes to either cap or
Kula
kill
getting lit up
07.
for 800, just trying to get in the cap area.
Oh, Foster doing a fantastic job keeping both those members for Noble spotted, lit up, so the rest of their team, Vetro, Mako, Synergy 3K, and Warbander can do that damage. But now Foster starting to take the punishment for him here. Dodo is loaded in that 50-51. He's going to start coming around and taking some shots there. X-Soldier just missing a shot onto ZXFT up by the railroad. 38
Vetro
seconds
coming in
on the
for
clock.
another reset.
Let's see if he can get it here. Coming around the side. He gets lit up there. The shot just going through, missing completely. Not waiting to see any of the members of Noble. But now he's on reload. He's already up and ready. The shots from Noble all going right around Vetro. Finally one connecting for 344. A minute and 6 seconds on the clock. Germ now not really caring about Marsh at this point. And coming through.
Another one.
Beautiful resets coming back and forth. He is staying alive, just crippling Noble from this RU-251. Militant now just going to deal with him head-to-head. They're like, you need to stop this. And right now, ZXT popping over the railroads, taking a little bit of damage on that T-22. Akula finally finishing off that RU-251, driven by Fosta, with 23 seconds now on the clock, 40 overall. 07 just has to hold out here. Germ kind of taking it head-to-head against Synergy 3K
critical
and
reset.
Warbander.
And it goes down. Vetro did not get the reset. ZXFT is under fire from Militant, who bounced his last 2 very critical shots. ZXFT will be spotted while he tries to make this. He just got tracked by Dodema. Dodemas may finish him off. Noble's starting to come back. 6 seconds left on the clock, and they may actually bring this one in.
Mako's
going to go in for the dive.
Go for the shot.
3 seconds
he
left.
needs to go.
If
They
he
need to
hits
keep him
this,
alive. Oh, he goes down
too.
What a beautiful pickup. Noble actually winning in the final few seconds of the battle, picking up their 3rd victory now against 07. Man, it worked. Man, it worked. But just at the very end. I mean, so not like, hey, man, it worked. I just mean like, man, it worked. David, I'm sorry. Should we go stats?
Calling that worked.
It worked. They got a victory. Hey, they got a
It
victory.
worked-ish.
It was
I'll
planned.
I'll give him a little bit more credit on this one. Let's see the damage numbers. Probably a good chance he did a lot. I mean, he did connect with T22 fairly. Oh, hello. Okay. 3,800 is a reasonable amount. Certainly reasonable amount. Now, let me begin the salt.
Here we go.
Nah, hold on. Let me finish everybody else first.
Okay.
2.3 out of Canadian Impact, 1.2 out of Akula, 1.2 out of Donoma, 1.1 out of Militant. Over here for 07 Warbender with 2.4, 1.6 out of Synergy, et cetera, et cetera. Now, why did this happen? Multiple resets did not land. So, great, 3,800. Did you kill anyone? An IS-7, which was super critical. I'll give him that. But 3,800 in these shots, that tells me a little bit of RNG was in the favor in order to hit that amount.
Okay.
Six.
Okay.
We're talking
Fair
6
enough.
total connections, 3 hits, 3 splashes out of 7 shots. Pretty good accuracy, don't get me wrong. Marsh playing a great game for Marsh. Has nothing to do with his actual artillery ability is
Okay.
why I'm picking on this. It's
Fair.
just they won that game with how many seconds left on the clock after spending so
8?
much time looking for those
Like
shots.
8 seconds.
And even then, it was mostly possible because Marsh hit more shots than he did the first time, which we're firing an M40, M43 here. If you're banking on any sort of accuracy out of that thing, you're out of your mind. And then, I mean, your accuracy by quantity, essentially, by just splash potential. Just, drop it in the same city block as them, and I'll get some.
Sure.
So give me enough time, and I'll whittle them down. If that hadn't penetrated to kill the IS-7, if any of those reset shots had gone through, it just would have been another 8 minutes of wasted time on Noble's part.
Here's the thing.
Still hate the M40, M43 so far.
You can look at
Hate
it that way. You can look
Hate
at it that way, or you can look at it like, hey, Noble has actually a legitimate strategy to this they're bringing, and they're just making it look like, oh, they suck with it, and then come the finals, they're going to crush. That's not happening right now. Right now, it's on to Himmelsdorf. Noble up 3-1 against 07. Let's go right into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks. Always looking on the bright side.
50B 2215s, 2 IS4s, a W100 and AMX 1390 for Noble 07 with 250Bs, 2215s, and IS7, a T22 and an AMX 1390.
All right. Himmelsdorf.
Right side, this guy.
This is city
This
play.
guy.
Here comes the points. For fantasy.
Both teams taking their initial positions here. CXFT will go to the hill. Marsh potentially going to go check him out up there. Canadian Impact starting out, or sorry, Noble starting out on defense. And 07 beginning to flex into the 1-2 column pretty hard here.
All right, sending Fawcett a little bit ahead to start scouting out in that 1390. They're making sure that no one is over here. The only people kind of on the side of the map for Noble are Militant and Germ up there in that C3 area. We're kind of pushing up a little bit closer to try to get some courtyard presence. Make sure you can see anyone in Canadian Impact as well. Oh, and he's going to get spotted out there by Militant. The shot going through, none of them connecting, but Militant ready and waiting for that. It looked like he was just looking for someone to pop into that window. That shot connected almost the moment Warbandor got lit up there.
CXFT is starting to have a trap crafted for him. If Marsh is paying close attention, there's good communication. He could get some motion up. There's a lot of people positioned over here. Noble's not necessarily using it as fast as they could be. Marsh positioned here to go up the 0 line and then attack, bait the 50B to come back after him, in which case that 50B would run into another 50B and a W100. Perhaps this will be enough. I see what they're trying to do here. So now Marsh is going to run away. Maybe? Maybe? Are they disconnected? Nope. Does not appear to be. Either way, this is clearly a trap.
Right.
How they're supposed to sucker ZXFT into it
Not
could
sure.
happen a couple different ways. I'm not necessarily sure. ZXFT firing 4 shots into the IS-4. I mean, getting a little bit of positive momentum here out of Marsh would be fantastic. The 50B does not actually have the best shots from up here. It has to actually go a little bit over the ledge, which would let W100 and the 50B absolutely ruin
Here we
him.
go.
Marsh coming up, and the entire trick is over as X-Soldier was going with him, and now ZXFT sees both of them. He's going to drive away. Decent chance that Marsh
Does
should
it-
get a track
can he
shot
make out
on
of
him
in
and
time?
actually make this work.
We'll see if he can right
He's got
now.
a baby
Coming
it.
over the side. Now they're
He's-
both lit up. Don't.
Just not going to risk it for a 50B.
All right. ZXFT gets out of there.
Okay.
So possibly a failed trap coming up for Noble, and that is going to mean Fossa is going to start applying some cap pressure here over in the west in that 1390. As the T22 driving right by him, starting position. I mean, they know where at least 2 members of Noble are. And Noble, they're going to continue that kind of pressure going up over the top of the hill. Only the, actually only Marsh going to continue for Noble on the other side. X-Soldier heading back.
Stacked 2-on-5s for Noble. Basically a pretty standard Northwestern camp that is virtually impossible to break.
Oh,
Without
Marsh.
mistakes. Marsh getting lit up.
Warbander taking that shot there. in the
Warbander,
IS-7.
was that an HE round?
I don't know. That was a lot of damage, though. Commodore being lit up now from that 5B. See if he can do anything there. Now, the one thing that obviously the Western cap, I mean, this is my personal opinion, seems so much easier to reset than the Northern cap. So if you are Noble, it's like, okay, we committed a lot. They're putting some cap pressure on. No worries. It's the West.
It's also a dividing line. So you have to make some motion there to lock this down and prevent, say, Makos from being able to slip up the one line and thus getting concave around you and causing problems. And then you have situations like what's happening to Akula. And that is the entire reason that teams use this Western cap right now. If he is not careful, he will go down to ZXFT's last shot as it buzzes by Germ's head. But ZXFT's going to hold it and not send it. There it goes! Synergy picking it up all the way down the line, and Noble's now on the rocks.
Canadian Impact does get a reset there. Marsh going ham there to try to take down Fosta. He goes down to Synergy 3K as well. And now Synergy 3K on the reload in that 50B. Noble did get the reset. Half the clock has gone by. But Noble now down about 1,300 points and even more as Milton takes 425 there in that 5B. David, looking at the position so far, what does Noble have to do to stop 07 right now?
Well, there you go.
Oh, Canadian Impact just needs to shoot Fosta.
Let's now have a learning experience. Check this out.
What?
Yep.
Oh, no.
See the backside of cap?
Oh, no. I was going to say, where did he get that shot? Because he didn't even come around the side.
I will say, this was actually pointed out to me last season.
Really?
By somebody who I cannot say.
Sure.
And I've waited this long for somebody to actually do it, just so I could talk about it.
That's
and
amazing.
Now I can talk about it.
That's amazing. I was going to say, how did Canadian get that impact? There's no windows in that, but there is a size space between those two buildings. Oh, the more you know.
Makes this so actually what this means is that Fosta, he's doing what he needs to do. He just needs to use the building as a line and then back off far enough. Actually, a tad further back is probably a good idea. But Jarm can get over the top and try and get this. Mako's actually going to close in on Militant and perhaps pick up another tank and open up even more strategic options for 07.
Going ahead here, one more shot. No, it's just a low roll. 317 going on to him. Militant barely staying alive, dodging his shot through the window, but it's not going to matter. Mako is going to find him. Meanwhile, Dodo taking down Commodore in that 5B. 37 seconds on the clock. X-Soldier finds Warband here. 4 tanks on the side of Noble against the 5 for 07. 07, though, is lower on HP. Canadian Impact taking a shot there in a Synergy 3K, who has 3 in his 50B, 27 seconds on the cap pressure. And Vetro coming to join to try to take down Canadian Impact. He finds Fosta, though. The cap pressure now irrelevant for 07. Canadian Impact, though, looks like he'll be going down for that, but he got the kill that he needed. He got the pickup that he was looking for. Meanwhile, in the north, we have Germ going head-to-head against Makos, a T22 versus an IS-4. David, who's going to come out on top? Who do you think? What would you rather be, IS-4 or T22?
T22 so far, as he's been winning every single thing, and Makos keeps bouncing right off of him, but it is a fairly reasonably armored battle back and forth. Now there's a little bit more contribution coming in from Vetro, but with a minute and 26 seconds left, it is a very rough fight for 07 to try and win.
Dodo also taking some damage there from Synergy 3K. One more, and that Waffle will be going down before he even has a shot. It is now all up to X-Soldier to stay alive for a minute and 13 seconds.
Fire.
Oh, 11, 111 in HP alive in that 50B.
3 on cap and 1 on the hunt. That's all you need at this point, because there is no place where X-Soldier can show up where he is not going to get fired on very, very quickly. As few on cap as possibly need, and get everybody else out there for eyes. 3 on cap's good enough. 1 can focus south. They will have enough spotting there, and Vetro staying exactly where he is all 07 needs to see the incoming. This is a situation they got in against High Voltage. They put everyone they had on cap. High Voltage did it themselves today, and it is not the right move right now. Vetro, knowing full well, this is a timing thing. He knows full well where X-Soldier could possibly be at this point in time. The fact that he hasn't crossed the 3 line. And
there it is.
Found you.
Timing is everything in this game.
3-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, 07. Now their second victory. 1 more, and they can tie it up here, as Noble loses 1 on defense. here on Himmelsdorf. Going for that kind of bait over on the hill, not really working out from there, allowing Zix to just kind of run away.
Yeah.
And just kind of spreading out from there.
Let's go to stats.
Let's do it.
Get lost in thought. Synergy 3K with 3.6 thousand damage and 3 kills. Makos with 2.9 and some incredibly clutch play. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that 5,000 damage blocked by armor? No big deal. No big deal.
Breaking the record.
What the?
Breaking the record
That's just
there.
crazy.
5B.
ZXFT, 2.5 thousand damage. Kamador with 2.5 thousand damage. Vetro, 2.4 thousand damage. And Warbander with 1. Fosta just having tons of cap points and getting shot from troll angles. And then over here, for Noble, 2.8 out of Datamo. Ex-Soldier with 1.9, 1.9 out of Canadian Impact, 1.7 out of Militant, and 1.2 out of Germ.
Wow. Such good damage blocked. It's incredible. I mean, that's how much HP does that tank even have, 5B? Not that much, right?
Oh, it's definitely not that much.
Right.
No, it's a T22.
Oh, I thought that was a 5B that blocked
No,
that.
it was a T22 that blocked that amount.
Whoops. No, well, I'm going to take that mark away from the 5B column and add a huge star to the T22 column.
Nobody is going to... See, that's the thing, is a lot of those shots didn't look bad. I mean, there was a number of those that were pretty much into the rear spoke or almost the rear armor from the IS-4 that just didn't go through. So that's the thing. Nobody's going to shoot a 215 that much to give us that kind of number. It's a T22 thing.
Beautifully done indeed. But right now, 07 looking to tie it up as they're on defense against Noble. Can they do it, or will Noble find their 4th victory? Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Noble with 2 215s, 250Bs, an IS-7, a TVP, and an AMX 1390. 07 with 250Bs, 2 215s, an E5 of W100, and an AMX 1390 of their own. Both teams running heavy on the 50Bs, heavy on the 215s, then switching up the supporting tanks from there.
All right. Starting out here, see where 07's kind of initial strategy is. We'll see if they're kind of running the ping defense, which is very aggressive. Really enjoyed seeing here. You don't really see a very aggressive defensive plays on Himmelsdorf. So it's very refreshing.
Except from Simp so far.
Yeah, that's right. We usually see him fighting down the southeast, or the southeast, where we don't generally ever see fights here on Himmelsdorf.
High Voltage used to do it a little bit, and Refuse did it a lot. And there is one trend between Refuse and Simp. There's Rude Awakening. Well, multiple trends, E63, M6, etc. But Rude Awakening was also a caller, and Simp's got a nice callers thing going on there, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. A lot of fire coming out from Noble directly on the 73K, 1100 right off the bat as they back off this corner, trying to get a little bit few more shots, but 07 taking a big gamble by putting the 50Bs there.
Both of them, Ex-Soldier and Germ, already clipping. Satisfied with the shots they got, and now going to relocate to another part of the map. But a lot of damage, like I said, going to Synergy 3K. Dodo now taking some as well in that 50-51 up on top of the hill. Revealing himself, 647 through the side. 1 or 2 more shots like that, he'll be going down. And that would not bode well for Noble at all.
Just barely getting caught by that ledge, and you better believe Synergy 3K will not miss that many that often. 1 more shot out. Maybe? Still lit.
There he goes.
Why it didn't have, there it is.
My goodness.
Synergy. Maybe playing some meta games with it, expecting Dodoma to... He probably couldn't hit him here, which is why he didn't fire. He was expecting him to fade, and then he gave him just another second to try and drive away into a pretty predictable place.
That would have been a shot.
Because you got to understand, a lot of these players are, well, it's obvious. They're very good. They're pro players, right?
Pro players.
So sometimes when you see an obvious thing that just doesn't happen, sometimes it is a genuine mistake, and other times there are some very good reasons behind it. It just doesn't work out.
Noble starting to apply some cap pressure here. Canadian Impact and taking a shot from Vetro. 5B through the side. Getting a little bit of reset, but not too much here.
Refreshing blast from the past almost here. Getting a little bit of the 2 cap pressure.
Haven't seen this, I feel like, in a while on Himmelsdorf. Bringing 07 to start coming to them. Only sending an E5 through the courtyard. The rest barreling in back on that A line. We'll see if this works out for 07. Mako's taking a lot of damage in the courtyard in that E5. 810 from on top of the hill. And Dodo and Ex-Soldier there contributing to that one. Now the cap down to 15 seconds. It's going to be up to 07 to find these resets right now. Militant being spotted out. He's taking a shot onto Mako's 387, a couple more, and he'll be going down. Canadian shooting Fossa before he gets on the corner, tracking him. We'll see if that's going to be enough as Camdor and Vetro come around the side. Cap down to 3 seconds. They just need the shot. There it is. Marsh getting lit up. 5:52 there in that 1390. He might be going down, but Wk7 has gotten what they came for. They got the reset, and now they're trying to back off without taking too much points in HP from Noble. X-Soldier taking a lot of damage right now. 429. Going into Militant, and the battle for the Northern Cap has begun. Foss has gotten around that 1390 and is letting it fly onto Akula. 977 in that 5B. Foss is doing a great job there in that scout, doing damage to him.
Oh, what a rough intro for Wk7, but they really brought it back and answered in kind as Noble now far lower on the hit point scale.
Dodo and X-Soldier now coming to join the fight, and the X-Soldier fights Synergy 3K. Akula taking down Makos. That is 2 tanks fallen for Wk7. Noble trying to close that gap between the HP, but Wk7 going to continue those shots. A shot going on to Militant. He just has 63 points in that 5B. Dodo letting all of his shots go. He has one more on his ZXT. He's lining up. He's looking for it. Let's see if he'll get it. It looks like ZXT may be just barely over on the side, dodging the shot there. And the reload has begun. 4 minutes and 9 seconds. Marsh coming around that 1390. He has a long reload indeed.
Fosta gonna break free. This game has never been more in a scout's hands than I have seen so far this season. If he can pick up Marsh or get a flank on all these low health tanks for Noble, he's gonna bring it home in a big way.
Look at all the damage done to Noble. Look at all their equipment and how much has been hurt for them. Marsh, he's just not in a good position there in that 1390, so he's got to be careful. He's not even done half reloading on that tank.
If Fosta knew this, it would kill him on the inside. This is a basic communication thing. This is that field of timers, that situational awareness that we talk about, an incredibly nebulous, difficult topic to talk about. Right now, if ZXFT was communicating to Fosta, he just dumped his clip on me. Fosta would know. The only person who could possibly be on that cap is the 1390, and I have a full clip, and he doesn't. And he did that how many seconds ago? I should be able to get this kill, pick him off, get the early flanks.
Could have been, yeah, could have been there now.
Basic communication, but every player on the team has to have that wherewithal. ZXFT needs to tell him. Fosta needs to ask. It's a huge mess of communication. This is where teams break, trying to get that kind of flow going back and forth. But Marsh is now almost loaded, and it's going to be a much rougher fight for Fosta. He can still win it, but Germ is probably going to interrupt everything.
He is loaded indeed. There's one shot starting out for Marsh. 221 going at him. 233 from the back. Germ taking 872 in that 50B. He's got to be careful. One more. He'll be going down. Fosta's final shot just there missing. He does have 3 more, though, and that one is going to take it out. And now Marsh going down the 1390.
He could kill Germ too. He could kill Germ too. He's closing in. He's got one shot missed, both reloading. Germ gonna hit that connection. Fosta's gonna go down for one miss. One critical miss that could have won this entire game. And I hate to say it, it's not necessarily all Fosta's fault, but it's true. It's flat out true. He could have won that whole game right then and there.
Well, it's not over yet.
In one of the most heroic things I've ever seen. It is certainly not over yet, as Warbander has a clip as well. Multiple tanks he can get shots on. He is going to take multiple shots as he crosses, and now stepping into a brutal head-to-head with X-Soldier. He does have a little bit of a hit point lead. If he gets this first shot in, he will win. Now he's got to back off this corner as X-Soldier looks for the follow-up. Canadian Impact finding Camador in the back. Vetro getting Militant. Warbander and Vetro taking out Militant and X-Soldier all at the same time. Now Dodoma is at risk.
Now there's just 4 members on the side of Noble. 3 on Wk7, 1:45 on the clock. Dodo has to be careful. He's applying that cap pressure. Warbander just 1 more shot away, and he has 1 more shot himself. He's going to hold on to it. He is not going to clip. Noble starting to regroup down by the courtyard. They know to do this. They probably have to go, I'm assuming, David, all at the same time?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Right now, if Noble, that was critical. Dodoma is playing a bit too passive right now, if you ask me. He's worried about ZXFT lighting him up.
There it is.
And that fear lost the opportunity to clip down Vetro and bring this game home as well. A number of things. A lot of players had this in the palm of their hand, as we've already mentioned. But you can't really fault him for not seeing those opportunities. They don't have the angle. They don't have the lack of pressure that we have. And now Noble's going to try and work their way on the outside. Going head-to-head with the WE100 is now has full clip. Oh, 1 shot out of his clip looking directly at that. He was spotted backing off the corner a little bit too much. Vetro going to step in, bounces a very critical shot on a 50B, and it may start swinging back into Noble's hands as Germ backs off. Never mind. Germ backing off. Vetro, if he can get a shot on Canadian Impact and bring this death to Noble. A nice track to guarantee he's going to have the angles to do it. ZXFT, if he follows up, and they can both trade shots here. ZXFT missing the shot on Canadian Impact. Vetro going to pick up Canadian Impact right now.
But there it is, 93 seconds start behind cap. Warbander, though, long gone. He is already up on top of the hill in that 50B.
Look at that critical awareness. He knows he had the time to get away. That's not an easy call to make. And 07
Tying it
barely
up.
squeaking it out, and Noble fumbling a number of situations that should have been a win.
There we go. As the time
Oh,
runs out, Vetro
Vetro.
takes down Akula just for the fun of it. And that is going to be 07 now, tying it up 3-3 against Noble here on to Ruenberg. On to Himmelsdorf. Now, looking at this 07, going up against these top tier teams. I remember talking to Meadowhawk before, and he was saying we have a tough road ahead. We got to go up against High Voltage. We got to go up against Noble. It's not going to be easy. They took High Voltage to a tiebreaker. They are now tied with Noble. I mean, the question for me is like, where was this 07 the entire season?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, they've always been inside and ready to play at this point in time. 07 taking a timeout.
That's right.
They've always had the potential. Let's go to stats first.
Cool.
Let's go to stats first. Ex-Soldier with 3.6 thousand damage. That's just great in a 50B. I mean,
That's
no other way to
just
put it.
great.
10 out of 10 penetration for hits. 3 maybe just slung. Who knows? That's the kind of thing. I don't like to count this against overall accuracy. This is what I care about more.
Sure.
If you landed a shot, did it penetrate? That's a better one. But I can semantically pick that to death all the time. Sometimes you take shots, you're not going to penetrate, but you take them anyways. Just like you take shots you may not hit, but maybe you will just because
Because you have it.
It's hard to evaluate people by their hit rate. Anyways, Canadian Impact with 3,000, Germ with 2.7, 1.6 out of Militant, 1.1 out of Marsh, and so on and so forth. Over here for 07, 2.8 and 4 kills out of Vetro,
Wow.
2.5 out of Commodore, 2.4 out of ZXFT, 2.2 out of Warbender, 1.8 out of Fosta, who kept this game alive in a very tough situation. Makos 1.2 and Synergy 3K 1.1. I'm going to repair a little bit of what I was saying about Foster's opportunities. We saw all that, right? But they don't even necessarily get to see those HP bars on the sides of the screen that we do.
Right.
They've got to communicate all that. Somebody has to be keeping track. If you half the time you ask a teammate, "What was this tank at?" You get an answer that's like, "I don't know, 300." You're like, "Great, I can't do anything with that." Or frustratingly, if you're one of my teammates F0X who only spoke in percentages. Hated that so much. You're like 5. I'm like, 5 what? It's like 5%. I'm like, what does that even mean? I don't know what the percentage
What
of
kind of
HP
damage
is.
do I do?
Change your over target markers to a human number. Psycho.
That is a public service announcement, by the way, to all of you guys out there.
Percentages are just terrible. Granted, he also remembered what tanks did to other tanks in percentages, so he couldn't tell you numbers, but he was like, yeah, I can do like 10 to 12%. So everybody had
so
their
it's
own
his
thing.
world. Okay.
It's just nobody else in the team worked that way.
Gotta work with the people around
it's-
you.
it's- Don't get me wrong, I love F-Zero in a lot of ways.
I won't get you wrong.
Well, anyways, so Fosta had the opportunity to win the game only after he took out Marsh, who very well could have killed him. Maybe should have killed him, depending. Just a lot of different situations. Had 07 been more cohesive in their overall communication and whatnot, and that is a borderline impossible standard that everybody tries to get to, and it's one of the number one reasons for burnout. What I'm getting at is Fosta played a great game. He could have won everything, but that's not his fault that he didn't. And same thing with Dodoma. Dodoma could have won the entire game for them, didn't do it. Marsh could have won the entire game for him, didn't do it.
Sure.
Everybody had a chance if they had all the information and a perfect gameplay. And that's just a reflection of how great that last game was.
Super fun indeed. Congratulations, 07 now tying it up 3-3. Noble now on defense, 07 on offense. We're back into Himmelsdorf. Let's take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Noble the 50B, 2215s, 2 IS4s, a W100, and AMX 1390. 07 with 250Bs, 2215s, and IS7, a T22, and an AMX 1390.
All right, here. Now, again, Noble on defense to pick up a victory. That'll be
What was that armor?
Four.
What was that damage bounce? that you
on
recorded?
T22.
Yeah.
5,028.
So, quite a bit more than double the T22's hit points. That is, in fact,
That's
a
amazing.
medal in the game. I forget what it's called.
Effort for absorbing more than.
It's a medal for deflecting more than your hit point
So he got-
value in attack.
He got 2 of those.
Well, you don't actually get 2 of them, unfortunately.
He did.
I wish you did get double medals when you did it, because my main account would have a glorious combo of medals.
If only I can just picture him now, David. I can just
I'm
picture
trying to
him
remember
now.
what the name of the medal is called. Oh, ZXFT poking over. Trade
Marsh.
shots with Marsh. But ZXFT, I mean, this entire trap is now pointless. You think ZXFT forgot that last time there was a 50B and a W100 there? Then again, maybe he did. He's hanging around. As
Or
long as he doesn't dive down that 0 line.
Or maybe he's thinking like, oh, they're not going to do it again. This is definitely a trap for me.
That does get meta like that.
Yeah.
It does get meta like that.
Well, we'll see. Only time will tell. Noble is on offense, though, so they are going to be ones to take and make that push.
It's a Kolobanov's medal is when you kill, I think it was something like you kill 5 tanks by yourself when everybody else in your team is dead.
What?
And I had a game where I killed 13 people after I was the last one alive. It wasn't fair. It was like old matchmaking, and I was playing against a lot of 5s and 6s when I was in a T29, which is an incredible situation to be in on steps.
But
it was,
13 kills.
I was so frustrated. I had my recording software on, and I thought I was recording, but it just didn't boot that day, so I didn't get any evidence of it aside from my
Wow.
account having that. But
that on it.
I'd have 2 Kolobanovs in one game, and it would have been
That would have been what a medal.
just would have been like
what
that
a medal
satisfied,
indeed.
that feels good man picture.
You can be like one of the few people in history to ever have that for World of Tanks.
For World of Tanks, I thought you were gonna say just in history. I was like, well, probably Kolobanov did it.
Oh, is that what the medal's now?
Yeah.
No.
It's
In World
not
of
like he killed
Tanks.
5 tanks by himself and they recorded it, but it's some sort of standoff.
He had recording software? Back to the battle at hand. 07 really biasing himself both times on offense over, well, they started out over on the west. Now they've started to move back to kind of where they spawn, pushing up toward the courtyard here. Fosta starting to apply some more cap pressure here on the 1390. And the game has begun. See how Noble starts to respond here. As the XFT off the hill. So that trap, those 2 tanks for Noble. Marsh and X-Soldier just kind of sitting there, just waiting, making sure he's not going to come out. At what point do you start pulling them away? Is it when you see ZXT somewhere? I mean, obviously when you see ZXT somewhere else. But do you
You're
guys
talking about the 2 going up the hill, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, that's not what they're doing right now. Right now, they are taking the hill. It's not about catching ZXFT entirely. Sure, they're hoping they can do that as well.
Now it's just
And that's why they have Marsh
that
up
control.
there to help scout ahead of time. But yeah, it's just to get X-Soldier on the hill so we can pound people that go into the 3 line in the courtyard and potentially the G line, as Marsh can get into a little divot he's going to right now, potentially fire all the way down there, although he did take a shot, very rough shot from it last time as Warbander lit him up.
Some damage now being exchanged
Here it
between
is.
both teams. Will they get it?
He's looking for the shot. It's maximum zoom. Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Hey!
What? Oh, that's the 50B.
Oh, gotcha.
This is so cool looking.
No shot.
Multiple
I feel like
shots
I'm-
going out, and you can see those times when you rain shots into the distance why they don't penetrate. And you're like, why? I swear I hit him in the back. Well, look at how much they're drifting at that distance. All the way over here, they're drifting up and down into the guns. You can actually see the curve in the tracer from this angle, which I've never seen before.
Dave, you should get a medal for the sickest shot ever. Not tank shot, camera shot. The sickest camera shot in WGLNA history. I'm giving it to you right now. I'm calling it the Sneakaburiki.
All right, Fosta getting lit up here on the cap. Nice meta joke. And Petro getting lit up trying to cross into the 3 line as the overall defense for Noble is starting.
Oh,
to pile
Vetro!
up. And X-Soldier having a top of the hill, picking off Vetro there. As Noble, one by
Fosta
one,
down.
repairing the mistakes they made the last time this happened. They actually got a lot of time to rotate over early, which really helped them adjust. And 07 not looking like they're going to be able to bring this one into the win column as they're getting whittled down quite a bit. There's still 7 takes alive for Noble with a 5,000 damage differential.
Beautiful position to be in if you were Noble indeed. ZXFT deciding to clip right now before getting his final couple shots out. Synergy at 3K as well. Marsh having to be careful in that T20, or Makos, excuse me, having to be careful in that T22 as he took a lot of damage there. Warbander lit up, Commodore lit up, and now, yeah, 07 just not looking good to be able to push it really anywhere.
Not really. If they go east, they will always have to worry about the tanks that are on the hill. So you are exactly correct. It's mostly just going to be driving around for 2 minutes trying to get Noble to move so that they can pick somebody off. But, you know, while you're right, there's not much else they can do. It certainly wasn't working in the 1 through 4 line.
Try somewhere else.
So you might as well try something else.
Well, they're sending their tanks now back over to the east. We'll see what they plan to do. Maybe go for a 7-8 push. I mean, if you do, you kind of negate the guys from the hill, correct? I mean, they can't fire down at that angle. But I guess they would be just ready and waiting.
Behind you,
yeah,
which is a big deal.
Which is way worse. 1 minute and 50 seconds on the clock. 07 going for that push right now. ZXFT going over that 50B. Leading the charge with Makos and Synergy 3K right behind him. Warbander staying back. He's still lit up there. And now, they know how Noble knows where they're at. ZXFT, no, that's a wall. That is not the alley that you were looking for. Taking 850 points of damage. That 50B just barely missing a shot there. X-Soldier coming off the hill in his to finish off ZXFT. There's one shot. Here comes two. Oh, right in the side of the rubble. But Dodo does take down Warbander. This third shot from X-Soldier just missing. He has one more left. Let's see where it goes. Right in the side of Synergy 3K. 1197 accumulative there on that 50B. Noble still has all 7 members up. 07 down to just 2,100 points of HP. This looks like this is going to be Noble's 4th victory. They're now going to be 1 away from finishing off the night. 07, when they go on defense, it's going to be all up to them to tie it up and bring it back here. Mako's going head-to-head here against X-Soldier. He knows he's on reload. There's one shot going in. Nothing connecting. A little bit of ram damage from both of them, but now X-Soldier is loaded. It is all over here for Makos, and that is going to be the final tank dropping for 07 Noble. 4th victory, 1 away from closing out the night. So looking at that kind of match overall, I mean, again, these matches a lot different from the rest of them. Very kind of elongated. People trying it one way and not working. So, you know, we're going to take our hit points and go somewhere else. 07, again, for the Western cap. We talked about that cap not super great to defend, but 07 did it beautifully last time. What did Noble do better on that second time on defense?
It's more about 07 than it is about Noble in that instance, but Noble did rotate west a lot better, and they obviously didn't have some of those early picks that happened on them.
Up on top of the hill, I think it was.
Who it was. And then they also didn't let Makos run up the 1-2 line, because Makos playing out of his mind in that T-22 took out 2 critical tanks, which really allowed 07 to get out of that situation. So maybe they were convinced that that strategy was effective, largely because Makos just picked everybody up on his back and got through. But there was a lot of different things that went right for 07 in that first one. Let's go to the stats while we can.
Let's do it.
Akula with 3.6, X-Soldier with 3.3, Canadian Impact with 2.5, Dotama with 2.3, Millicent with 1.5, and for 07, everybody below 1.2, leading off with Kamador and Makos.
Wow. I did not
Didn't get good
expect them
shots,
to do
got strangled
damage.
every single which way they went. And if it weren't for just a failure to get solid resets on Pro right now, it would be 4-3 the other way around.
That's so true. That is so true. 07, again, playing fantastically tonight. Also on Tuesday against High Voltage, right now against Noble. And this is their time to prove it because they have to bring it to a tiebreaker or it is all over for them. Noble now on offense with 4 victories, looking for their final one. Can they do it? Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks. Yeah, everything comes down to just one battle. One shot.
Frequently, yes. Noble with 2 50Bs, 2 215s, and IS-4, a T-22 to an AMX 1390. 07 with 2 50Bs, 2 215s, and E5, a W100 and AMX 1390. And I'm going to bring it all the way back.
Let's bring it back, David.
Because it always comes down, or frequently comes down to single battles, small amounts of battles. This is why I just cannot abide in artillery on Pro Road.
Yeah?
Sorry, I had to go for it.
That's fine. It's good. You stand your ground. I admire that. We haven't seen artillery in Himmelsdorf. So.
No, we have. It didn't work out, but we have.
When did the season?
Yeah. AM60s brought Lorraine 51 for some reason.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that didn't work out at all. I feel like Himmelsdorf again. Just so many roofs that can catch that shot. Just. Oh, we'll see. 07 now going very hard on the defense over on the west. Maybe kind of predicting what Noble was going to be doing here.
Marsh, you sir have entered the danger zone, but he is just barely edging the outside of the view range to see Makos and Kamador here and get away on his own. But things looking still somewhat positive for 07 as they haven't lost about 800 hit points in one of their 50Bs already, which is good.
Good. Yeah.
Good improvement. They have owned the 1 through 3 line again. So all things net positive for 07 compared to last time. And last time,
They won.
they won. So
Yeah.
still in this. One shot going out on Dodoma. That's not the 1,000 they put. Okay, never mind. There's 457. This is why a lot of the time the hill, while it's in a fantastic location, is also fickle. It doesn't like the people on top, and it doesn't like the people below at all. It is just,
You just can't make it happy.
nope, it's going to damage everybody.
Oh, what a bad person.
It's a hill. It's a hill, Toma. It's not a person.
Oh, that's right. I have to stop putting names to inanimate objects and thinking they're people. I have friends. Germ pushing forward at 50 feet. Getting ready. Score in the corner. Noble going for a little northern push here. Milton starting to apply that cap pressure here. Now, last time it did not work out for Noble. Let's see if it does this time. Let's see what they're going to try to tweak differently to shut down 07. Synergy 3K. That's being lit up, getting some information there. Pushing forward is Cambador, that 5B, and now Milton actually getting off. They're going to try to collapse on these couple tanks coming through the courtyard right now.
ZXFT just consistently bouncing. One more shot in. If he takes out Dodoma and hits the dirt, 2 bounces on the side of Dodoma that really will change this game. And a lot of people getting caught out in the middle as Noble starting to move down on the people that were attempting to flank.
Mako's taking a lot of damage there in the E5, trying to find some safety here. Germ's final shot going on him for 414 points of damage there. Akula coming on the side, and now Fosta has joined the battle at 1390. He has some nice shots here on the side of some tanks. Marsh still coming to stop him, and the damage in the battle has begun here on the courtyard, a place we don't really see a lot of fights happening. Cambador taking out Canadian Impact. That is the first tank falling for Noble. 07 trying to come back. They need to tie it up right now, or it is all over for them. Fosta barely holding on there with just 65 points of HP. Akula finds Warbander. Germ takes down Mako's. 2 tanks going down for 07. Noble trying to come back, and that's a third. Akula takes down Vetro as well. Milton will be going down to ZXFT. So much damage, so many shots going out here. 730, over 1,100 into Cambador, but he finds Germ. ZXFT finds Akula. 07 is coming back here. They have 4 tanks against the 3 of Noble. Will Noble be able to find these tanks that they need, or it looks like 07 might be able to defend successfully?
It's coming down to X-Soldier. Super late flank. Going to come in and try and take out Cambador. If he gets this, it will open up a whole lot of opportunity for Noble.
He has 4 shots in that 50B. Let's see if he can make them count. Here comes one. No, he's just going to get on the side, trying to find a better vector for that shot. Cambador is low. Synergy 3K, though, at full HP. And these the 3 members of Noble now kind of spread out here. Dodo on the other side of the map. Marsh coming to join up with X-Soldier.
They're trying to get a high-low on Synergy here, but Cambador already slipped into safety, and all of the potential strategic options for Noble are slipping away so quickly as they're getting pushed further and further east, or rather, they're pushing themselves for one reason or another. X-Soldier dead in a line with Fosta and a
one shot.
WE100 ZXFT. None of those shots connecting for damage, but heading up the hill with 3.5 minutes left, not going to leave a whole lot of room for finessing this back in from a 2.2 thousand hit point deficit with a WE100 fully locked and loaded. Synergy 3K and an FE215B holding down the 8 line, now slipping into the north. This is definitely looking like we're going into draw territory unless somebody does something incredibly heroic.
All right, Noble again is on offense. 07 just has to kill time or kill tanks to win this victory. Cambador setting up, looking over the courtyard, making sure no one's coming around there.
Oh, the bounce!
1390. Did it bounce off a 1390?
Yeah, it ricocheted off the front. It ricocheted off the front. It's not that absurd. But I guarantee you, from Synergy's position, he has no understanding of how that happened. Or rather, he does, but he doesn't want to admit it. He's just mad.
He's just
like,
mad right now.
How could it? It happens. Shells have travel time. You have your own latency to deal with. On Synergy's screen, very good chance he would have connected that directly. And then he gets the battle report from the server and it doesn't happen. But this is all stuff that pro players have to deal with.
They know, they calculate.
But just like everybody else, there still aren't those times they don't get mad.
They're still human.
Because they feel like it should have counted. You know?
Sure.
They mentally know it didn't.
Oh, X-Soldier getting spotted out in that 50B. Nice information. We just got confirmation that if this does go into a tiebreaker, 07 will be the one to have the choice. So that'll be a good position to them to take down Noble. And David, like you said, looking like draw territory indeed.
I don't know.
Oh.
Fosta picking up that kill, but he is exposed. Or sorry, he is spotted but not exposed as he locks down this area. He did, however, get the spots on Dodoma and X-Soldier, the last 2 tanks alive for 07 to constrict on. And now we get into a territory, but picking up Fosta gives quite a bit of information, and there are a lot of very slow tanks trying to get back for 07. In a minute and a half, it is still winnable territory for Noble. It's extremely unlikely, but with the speed of the tanks that Noble is dealing with, if they get good track shots and X-Soldier lands everything, they could possibly bring this back.
X-Soldier decided to clip, so he would have all of his shots by the time the battle begins. Commodore spotting him out.
Them showing that position may come back to bite them a little bit. Nope. ZXFT is going to look through the building for it.
Oh,
and
X-Soldier
that
taking a
reset
shot.
probably gets close to sealing the game.
There it
Another
is.
one coming out from Synergy 3K.
It looks
still
like
not
it's
good
over.
according to the timers, but here we go. ZXFT, he's saying
That's
good
one.
night
That's
as
Synergy.
07 ties it up against Noble.
Bringing it into a tiebreaker again, first against High Voltage, and now against Noble. They're going to have a second attempt on Muravanka for a tiebreaker. They get to choose attack or defense. What a match indeed. What a way to close out the night. And 07 coming back, proven strong. What this is great. I mean, this is by far my favorite match so far. I'm interested to see 07 Muravanka. We usually say pick defense, right? It's like, oh yeah, pick defense, pick defense, pick defense.
Stats first.
Pick defense.
Get the stats out of the way.
Stats, defense stats.
Akula with 2.6, Dodoma with 2.1. Yep. Germ with 2,000, X-Soldier with 1.7, Militant with 1.5, Canadian Impact with 1.4, and Marsh 200. 407, Synergy 3K with 2.9, ZXFT with 2.9. Very, very, very critical hits. Warbander with 2.7, Commodore with 2.7, Fosta and Vetro 1.3 and 1.1.
We are getting word now that 07 is indeed picking defense here onto Muravanka. So it will be interesting once we get into this to see how this final battle between these two teams go. Oh, and Noble getting a timeout there. So we have more time to talk about tilt territory because we didn't talk about this at all tonight.
So, while tilt territory for anybody would be Noble, it would not be 07
Right.
in my mind. I mean, 07 is playing up in the rankings. They've now brought their second top 2 team
To a tiebreaker.
to a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And arguably, with a couple different situations that could have gone on,
The reset on
could be
Pro.
construed as winning it.
Sure.
I felt with the high voltage 07 game that you could argue that 07 had played a better set.
Okay.
And granted, you can go back and forth with the shoulds. Well, high voltage, you know, they made this mistake and that's why everything else happened. You could do this all day. I'm just looking at what we saw. I feel like 07 played a better set and just made wrong mistake at the wrong time. That's really all there is to it. And then Mines was a mess. But whatever. Let's talk about this one. So with this one, so far, I feel like 07 has played an all-around better set. And the only thing that sticks out glaring in my mind is several tanks trying to fire and get resets on Proc and not getting it done.
And that comes down to that.
It comes down to that. So we look at the margins. I'm not going to go back in the artillery. I think everybody gets the point. This shouldn't even be in this territory. Noble's too good. Why play games with that nonsense instead of just playing?
I'm telling you,
instead of just playing,
they have a sweet strategy.
instead of just playing
it's gonna
Prohorovka
be crazy.
and winning,
It's gonna be
and we
crazy.
wouldn't even be here right now.
It's gonna be
Wouldn't
crazy.
even be here right now.
I'm telling you, this is
playing-
all. It's like
Playing
chess.
07 on Himmelsdorf.
It's chess. It's 20.
Playing 07 on Himmelsdorf. We talked about this earlier. What maps would I want to take teams like Noble and High Voltage to? Himmelsdorf's one of them because you're going to overthink it. And what happened? 07. Winning with player skill.
Yeah, I'm still gonna hold on to think.
However, in this situation, 07 is not necessarily a defensive team. That's not their forte. They're better down and out and on offense. That's how they are. They're scrappy like that. And it certainly plays more in a Noble's game where they get to methodically slow play things on Muravanka because there's lots of territory for them to do it. And if 07 goes big, they could definitely catch them off guard and win. But who knows what's going to happen. If I see an artillery on Noble's side,
I was gonna say, do you
see an
do you
artillery
think
on
there's
Noble's
artillery for
side-
Noble? Guys, let us know in chat right now. I mean,
I
artillery
think there will be. I
or
think
no?
there will be. Of course there will be. They brought it on Prohorovka. Why would they not bring it on Muravanka? And then,
listen. I'm gonna go ahead and call it Marsh Artillery. I'm calling it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see if I'm right. We're getting ready to go
of course you are.
into the battle.
Of course you are.
Hey! way!
And it's going to
Noble!
be an M40, M43.
It's all tied up against Noble and 07. Who's going to find the victory? Will it be Noble? Will it be 07? Let's get into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks.
Rip me. That's all I can say. Press F to pay respects to my sanity. Noble with a 260 and E5, a bat shot of 140, two T22s, an M40, M43, 07 with an IS-7 and E5, a bat shot of 140, T22 and E3, and a 1390. This thing better win the game. Or Foster better come in behind and kill it and win the game. One of these two things need to happen for me to be able to sleep tonight.
Yeah? All right. Okay. Well, there we go. David's sleep is on the line, 07 Noble. It's up to you, Fossa. It's up to you, Marsh. Also, I'm sure the players would love to see some of that as well. Artillery coming out. We'll see how that plays into the hands of Noble, or if 07's Fossa will be the clutch. But again, regardless of what's happening, 07, fantastic plays tonight. Noble, fantastic plays tonight. I'm kind of on both of them. But like you said, looking at the set, you would say 07 taking it.
Nice.
Fossa.
This spot is great. Fantastic. Wunderbar.
This one with Foster?
Wunderbar. I don't know how to say it. Yeah. It's going to see so much. And it's going to be very tricky to diagnose where it is due to just how much stuff can see in the general areas they can see.
Okay.
And while you could figure it out, and while you will spot it with your face at some point, there are a lot of people that can fire into the vectors that Foster spots. And also, look at how much protection it gives these three.
Wow.
You see how much space they have?
Wow.
And they have the angles. You come at Foster, you gonna die.
You going
And then Foster's
down.
gonna go ham up the 9-0 line and get your artillery. If
And
it
David's
all
gonna
happens.
sleep. But it looks
If
like
it all happens. But Noble's gonna have to make a play in the west to kick all that off. And the other benefits are if Noble wants to start dropping their M40, M43 shots into commonly used positions,
that's one of them.
where do you think they're going to go? They're going to drop them all in here where everybody else goes for the most part, unless Militant's able to deduce it. Now, they do have an advantage of Militant being the guy over there in the bat chat. He can do that kind of thing. And the other advantage is with the M40, M43, I hate it a lot less on this map. I'm mostly playing it up for the lulz. But Commodore, if he tries to come in and proxy spot Canadian Impact, could very, very well taste the spice from Marsh directly in the face.
Taste the spice.
And this angle's a lot better for it. And it's firing over shorter distances. This is much better. Much better.
Aw.
I still hate it.
I was gonna say, wait, are you there
Still
to
hate
like it?
I still hate it.
Okay.
But it's better.
You hate it less.
Yeah.
Hate it less. There we go, guys. We're making progress. 63 seconds here on the Western Cap for Noble. Canadian Impact is the one to apply that in that object. 260. He is now spotted out. Let's see if who's that? Vetra spotting him out there? No, it's like Vetra.
Yeah, would have had to be.
Spot him out there. He's not getting spotted himself.
Probably just caught the tip of the hatch, which is why Canadian Impact didn't spot him back. Oh, Mako's going up and over. They're trying to get some good shots, trying to force a fight.
Oh, Vetro.
Head-to-head. If they can get a head-to-head fight here with that E3 and take out that artillery, they're going to be in business.
Vetra taking a shot for it. Let's see if that's exactly what 07 is doing.
They're clustered in a terrible place.
The XFT backing up, but luckily for them, Marsh is on a very big reload timer.
Oh, and he missed. They're in the game. If they're paying attention, now is the counter push time. Now is when that artillery comes back to bite you.
Here it goes, 1,200 going into Commodore. Foster, though, taking a lot up on top of the hill. Kula will take him down. The first tank falling for the side of 07, but Canadian Impact looks like he may be dropping any second now. 469 going to him. Makos takes down Canadian. That's now a tank dropping for Noble. Let's see if they can continue and take it home. The shot from Marsh was up, and Dodo takes down Commodore there. Warbaiter taking 11-12 into that IS-7. Dodo might be able to finish him off, or it might be X-Soldier comes in. Either way, that is going to be an IS-7 down for 07. 4 tanks remaining for them. 6 still for Noble. Makos have come around the side. He might get some good shots there onto Akula. Germ going down to ZXFT. That is now 2 tanks fallen for Noble. Militant is on reload in that batch yet. I'm not sure, David. The HP is such in favor of Noble by almost 3,000 points.
Absolutely. Noble just flat out winning the tank-on-tank fight.
Gotcha.
That's all there was to it. 07 getting caught in tons of bad positions, and Noble hitting a lot of shots. 07 probably not penetrating a lot of their tanks, a lot of their shots very well.
Oh!
That mattered. 1.1 thousand in combination with the coolest shot into Synergy 3K. Synergy largely been out of the fight for the most part with that E3, and that is the end for 07. Again on Muravanka.
2 times, maybe 3rd time will be a charm, but it looks like not this time. Noble should, Looks like they will now as Mako's taking a lot of damage there. ZXT just barely dodged one. Milton there. Gonna come up and end that man. One shot to the back. ZXFT gone. Back chat on back chat. Vetro one shot away. And like I said, Akula taking on Mako's. This will be Noble picking up their 5th victory of the night in a tiebreaker from 07 onto Muravanka. There it is. Final shot from Marsh not connecting. But congratulations to Noble for picking that one up. Before I forget, I should say, with that not being a complete out victory for Noble, is that possibly going to hurt their guaranteed into the playoff or guaranteed into the finals position?
No, I think they have such a lead, and it's only 1 point difference.
Okay.
That okay. Let's get through the stats.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it right here. Just terrible shooting. And some weird positioning for 07 here. Potentially, I'm going to talk about that when we get to it. ZXFT 2.6, Vetro with 2.1, and everybody else below 1,000. Over here for Noble. I mean, this is your real breadwinner coming in here. X-Soldier 2.3, Militant 2.8, Akula 2,000, Dodoma 1.8, Marsh over here with 1.8. A lot of that on that E3.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not just trying to defend my own statements here. I'm going to be objective in this case. And for the initial fight that really won the game, and RU-251 would have been better, flat out. It would have done more damage in the period of time. It had beautiful shots. The only real advantage to this, and I will not doubt the contribution to that. Well, that's it for stats, so we can close those out. I will not doubt the contribution of an artillery for one thing in particular.
Okay.
That's the intimidation factor. If that was affecting Noble's positioning, like 07's positioning, like they didn't want to go to a certain place because they're scared of the arty, didn't want to go here because they're scared of the arty, then that helps you a lot. What they need to do is really just run the math on it, look at a lot of stuff. The M40-43, while it can, if it hits you in the side, it's really not as scary at tier 10 as it was at tier 8, but there's still probably some of those lingering old fears. Like, it terrifies me. But at tier 10, one shoots me, I'm like, haha, it only did 400. I'm used to
drive away now.
doing like 1,200.
Sure.
So
sure.
If that was their goal for intimidation and for control of certain areas and splash factor, which he did get a good amount of splash, maybe some tracks that would have been addition, then it was a nice pickup. But for the most part, just a 1390 and RU-251, something like that would have been fantastic in that situation. But overall, nice play by Noble, handedly winning that tiebreaker against 07, unlike the last time 07 went there.
Either way, I'll say congratulations to them for picking up that victory, ending out our night. Let's go quickly over the matches so we can get a little refresh. Up first, Eclipse beating Color Wanted 5-2, followed by Ding beating Aquatic 5-3. Third, we had High Voltage beating Googly 5-2. And finally, what you guys just saw, Noble beating 07 5-4 in our only tiebreaker of the night there. Fantastic plays indeed, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube if you're not doing that at /WGLNA. Thanks for watching on Battleview.com for those of you who did do that. And also following us on Twitter at WGLNA. Again, we are having next Thursday bringing Quinn in to answer your guys' questions to us. So use the hashtag mailbag at WGLNA and ask us any questions you'd like. And we will be answering them here on the show. And also make sure you guys tune in Tuesday, January 26th for these next 4 matches. First, Googly Bobbers versus Aquatic, followed by Color Wanted versus High Voltage. Third, Yo versus Eclipse. And finally, Noble versus Ping 999. Some exciting matches indeed. On behalf of everyone here at the WGLNA, that has been David Williams. I am Christian Toma. And as always, thanks for stopping by.